Hey everyone, this is Divyam from Online Effects Academy, and today I'm going to show you how to create this super cool cyberpunk glitch effect in After Effects. So without any further ado, let's get started. Hey everyone, so right before we get started, here's a bonus tip. This effect is completely made in After Effects. This is 100% After Effects, so you don't need any third-party plugins. So let's get into After Effects. So here we are in After Effects, and let's start off with a new composition and call it as glitch main and hit OK. And then let's create a text box in the center and type out Cyberpunk. Now I want to change the font of that a little bit. That's okay. Take it to the center. Let me just increase the size of that. Let's keep it exactly in the center. So hit P for the position and change that to 960 by 540 if you are using the full HD comp. And let's also increase the spacing a bit. So click on this and say about 75. And that's okay. And again, move the anchor point to the center. And then again, you can change the position to the center. And let's pre-comp that with Ctrl-Shift-C and call that as text. And now let's add a new solid. And to this, let's add the effect fractal noise. The key to any great glitch. And we are also going to pre-comp this layer and call it as fractal noise comp. Alright, okay. So now we have got three comps here: a glitch main, a fractal noise comp, and a text comp. So let's put our fractal noise comp and our text comp into our pre-comps folder, and let's shift our pre-comps folder into our comps folder. And we'll be jumping around these a fair bit in this video. Let's start in our fractal noise comp and animate our fractal noise to be nice and chaotic, which is going to drive our glitch effect. So first, let's set the noise type to block. Let's pivot up the contrast, about 400 looks good. Then let's pop down to transform menu, uncheck transform scaling, and push the scale width really high, right up to 600. And then push the height down a bit, down to somewhere about, let's say, 50. Now we have got a bunch of random black and white strips. Now we can come back and tweak all of these settings later. But to animate this, we're going to add an expression to our evolution property. So hold down your Alt button and click on this stopwatch right beside the evolution. And this is going to open our expression window. So type in time, asterisk, and let's say about 500. And there we go. And with that expression applied, it is just going to increase the value of that evolution constantly. So our evolution is constantly growing, and we have got a lovely animated fractal noise. And now let's work on our glitches. So back to the glitch main layer, let's hide our fractal noise comp for now. And now we are going to add a displacement map. So click on the text layer and type in displacement map. And there we go. And over here, where it says displacement map layer, we're going to choose fractal noise comp instead of text. And you can see that we have already got a bit of a glitch to this. So what the displacement map does is gives the color information from fractal noise layer and use that information to distort or displace our type layer. The darker it is, the more it displaces to the right, and the lighter it is, the more it displaces to the left. And this maximum horizontal and vertical displacement determines the maximum amount of shift that's going to take place. So if I crank this up a bit, You can see the amount of glitchiness is also increasing. And now since our fractal noise is animated, so it's going to change constantly. So about 1 second in, let's click the stopwatch on horizontal and vertical displacement and press U so you see the effects pop down. And let's set them both to 0. And then at the start of our comp, let's set the maximum horizontal displacement to something huge. Let's say about 500. So now our text is starting really glitched out and then comes back to normal. Now just before it comes down to 0, let's increase that horizontal displacement to somewhere about 200. And now let's increase our maximum vertical displacement too. So add a keyframe of 0 at here, and a few frames later, let's set that to around maybe 35. So it goes from 0 to 35 really quick. And then maybe let's move this last horizontal displacement keyframe a little bit further. And then here, let's keep it down to somewhere like 30. And now let's see. Starting to look a bit cool. And this glitch is gonna look a whole lot better in a few moments once we start adding a few more effects. So let's quickly animate our text glitch transition. So let's go to our text comp, and then somewhere about 2 seconds in, let's split our type layer with Ctrl, Shift, and D. And on the second type layer, let's change the text to, let's say, glitch effect. But now here I'm gonna change the font to something else. Also, I'm going to decrease the size a bit, let's say somewhere about 75. Snap the anchor point to the center, and let's just keep it in the center as well. And then let's go down to say around 3 seconds. And let's again split this with Ctrl Shift T and delete this end part. And for the last 2 seconds, I'm going to use my logo. There we go. Let's also split this up with Ctrl Shift T and delete this one. Now this is just to show you that this not only works on texts but also on image files. I'm going to scale it down a bit, say somewhere about 50% would look good, and that's it. So now let's go back to our glitch main layer, and at about 2 seconds where we put our first split, I'm going to press asterisk, the one right above number 9 on numpad, and that's going to create a marker out here. So I will know that where I need to place my transition. And then we'll do the same at about 3 seconds, press asterisk, and that's going to put a marker again. So now what we need to do is place our transition here to hide that jump effect. So what we need to do is we need to go back a few frames before this marker and create keyframes of maximum vertical and horizontal displacement. Copy these and place these just after the marker. And now let's go to our marker and let's crank up our horizontal displacement. Let's say somewhere about 150. And let's see. And as you can see now that this glitch effect has completely hidden out that jump that we were getting, that split effect that we were getting. And now let's increase the vertical displacement to somewhere about, let's say, 10. And yeah. And I think I might want to drag down my keyframes a little bit further, just so that we get a bit more of that glitchy effect. And now we can just copy these keyframes and paste them here near our second marker and just align the middle keyframes. And now if you see, starting to come together a bit. And you can also edit these values. You can set negative values as well. Let's say I'm going to go about 2 minus 30. Let's check it out. Now what has happened here is that all the keyframes were selected, so this -30 value has been applied to all these keyframes. So let's undo it. Let's select this one keyframe and put it as -35. And that sounds about nice. Now while this is going out, I want this logo to be glitched out at the end as well. So a few keyframes later, I'm gonna make another keyframe of horizontal displacement and then at the end crank that up to, let's say, about 500. And now let's add all of those colorful and tasty effects. And the first effect that we're gonna add is CC ball action. It's a pretty good name for an effect. So now what ball action does is turn that layer into a collection of spheres. Let's just change this to full, and now you can see. Let's take it down to quarter again, and we are going to use this effect to create our LED grid. So let's turn that ball size to, let's say, somewhere around 55, and that grid spacing to 2. And now we have got this cool LED looking effect. And now let's add another tasty effect. Posterize time, and let's just set that to 12. So what this does is it reduces the frame rate and it doesn't look that smooth, and we get a bit more time on each frame. And now let's add some glows, and we're gonna add our first glow effect, and I'm gonna turn the threshold down to 20%, radius down to 3, and intensity to somewhere about 0.5. But we are not gonna stop here. Press Ctrl and D to duplicate this glow effect, and this time I'm gonna increase the radius to, say, about 12 and turn down the intensity to 0.3. And again we're gonna duplicate this, Ctrl or Command D, and again increase the radius to, let's say, this time around 34, and decrease the intensity to 0.2. Now for me 3 or 4 glow effects are okay, but you can add as many as you want. And this time let's set the glow radius to, let's say, 46 and glow intensity to 0.1. So now let's add a bit of a glitch in between our keyframes where it's a bit of static. So let's select our fractal noise comp, press Ctrl or Command C, copy it, go to our text layer and paste it. And let's make that visible, and I'm going to select Preserve Underline Transparency here. So it affects only our text layer and isn't visible on our background. And now I'm going to turn this opacity down to 50%. So now it has kind of like that constant glitchy motion. And now if we go back to our main layer, we can see in between our transitions a little bit of action is happening out here. Now what this does is it helps the animation keep looking alive when there's not a lot of things happening. Now here, as you see, that at the start of our composition the text is glitched out, but what I would like to see is the text appearing from nowhere. So at the start of our composition the screen would be transparent. Now a simple way to do that would be, let's go to our text layer, select Cyberpunk, and then let's add simple choker. So about 1 second in, let's put a keyframe here, and at the start of our composition let's increase that to maybe about 100 until there is nothing left. Let me just type in 100 there. Let me turn off the transparency so you can see what's actually happening. Now as you see, it's coming out of nowhere. But if we go into our glitch layer, you will see it pull all these glitchy particles out of nowhere. And also let's add that same effect to the logo at the end. And now let's add some of those insane colors. And we're going to do that by adding the effect Colorama. There we go. And as soon as you add this, you'll see that this does not look right. That's because we need to place this effect on top of all the other effects. We'll select it and pull it all the way up, and there we go. And you can also go and select the preset from here. So let's see, RGB, deep ocean, and even sunset, just depending on the theme you are creating this for. Even clay is there, and moldy. So let's just set it to none, or let's just set it to RGB, and there we go. Now if you want to make it look a bit more better, all you need to do is go to Colorama, go to input phase and select add phase from fractal noise comp, and now you see it's looking a whole lot better. So that's it everyone, that's Cyberpunk glitch effect for you. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. So I hope you have fun trying this effect on your own. Thank you so much for watching this video. Also, if you like this video, please press the like button and subscribe to our channel, and help us keep Online Effects Academy free by supporting us on Patreon. Also, please press the bell icon so you don't miss any of our future updates. I'll see you on to my next one. Till then, make sure you keep creating.